Hi, hello everyone. Today we will see about the case study on green propulsion in India. So this case study is I'm going to incorporate with design thinking. First of all, green propulsion. It means that without use of fossil fuels. Okay. So we can see the empathy part. So in the empathy part, we need to discuss in the usage of fossil fuel vehicles. That is, nowadays we are using the vehicles. In that vehicle, what are the difficulties or what are the problems we are facing uh, because of vibration or environmental problems? So in empathy part, we have gathered some information. That is, engine emissions are generally high compared to external combustion engines, and also in reciprocating engine, internal combustion engine, noise is generated due to detonation of fuel. We know that while operating the IC engines, there is more number of noise and vibration is produced, and most important one is CO2 emission is very high, and it leads to global warming. So these are the points which I have collected from the end users. Next one is define. So in define part, we need what we want to produce apart from the IC engines. So what are the points need to be added in the future vehicles? So that is, so implementing the initiative to reduce the CO2 emissions. So my first primary one is to reduce the CO2 emissions of the vehicle and noise and vibration coming out from the engines. And the next one is avoid the fossil fuels to minimize the operating cost. We know that nowadays the fuel prices keep on increasing. Around the price of the petrol is around 78 to 80 rupees now. And removing the IC engine from the vehicle because of large maintenance. So by having the four-wheeler, so every 6 months we need to spend around 10 to 12,000 for a proper maintenance. So that is a burden to the customers. So we need to minimize the maintenance cost of the vehicle. So these are the points in the define part. So based on that, we need to develop for different concept, right? And then next part in the design thing is ideate. Here we have collected a number of ideas, but I have listed only two here because these are the two possibilities, right? So first one is hybrid powertrain. In hybrid is nothing but which consists of two energies. One is fossil fuel as well as electrical energy. So that is called hybrid, or we can say that by having more than one energy to use to propel the vehicle. So that is called hybrid. That is one possibility. And another possibility is electric motors and batteries, right? Okay. First of all, we need to discuss about hybrid. In hybrid, there is a motor as well as IC engines, which means we can reduce the pollution not by 100% because we are using IC engines, which means it leads to some amount of pollutions. Okay. Next one, electric motors and batteries. In electric motors and batteries, if we are using this in our vehicle, we don't have any emissions coming out from the engines, and also the maintenance cost is also very less. Per kilowatt of power cost is also very less when compared to fossil fuels. So the greater advantages in the electric motors and batteries. So here I have listed the hybrid car and electric car. In hybrid car, there are two types. One is parallel hybrid and series hybrid. So here the power is generated by using regenerative braking as well as from the engine. But it will be produce emissions around 30% when compared to IC engines. In battery car, it is full of battery and electric motor only. So we don't need any IC engines to propel the vehicle. So here the power supply is getting from the plug-in. Either the power is from the stations, like if we are having in a petrol bunk. Likewise, in upcoming years, power station will also come. So whenever the battery power is very less, we can charge it up and then we can pay it for the charge of battery. Okay. So that is the greater advantages. Next, in that the target, so we have seen about the ideate part, and then we can able to conclude that electric vehicle and motor will have major advantages when compared to hybrid. So we can choose motor and battery as a primary source to propel the vehicle. Okay. In that, by using the electric vehicle, battery electric cars by 2020, avoiding 120 million barrels of oil and 4 million tons of CO2. So that is a greater achievement if you achieve 4 lakh passenger battery cars. So we can able to minimize 4 million tons of CO2. And also by 2020, we can able to minimize 1.3% of CO2. Vehicular emissions, that is other than CO2, say NOx, SOx, carbon, CO, that and all. And government of India has also initiated some schemes, that is Deen Dayal scheme in June 2014, which would help the financing and procurement of battery rickshaws in a country. So that is an initial initiative and government is given by Government of India. In March 2015, Motor Vehicle Amendment Bill was cleared, establishing battery-powered e-rickshaws as a valid for the commercial transport. So in northern sides, Delhi, that place at all, they are using e-rickshaws. So we can minimize the utilization of fossil fuels. Third one, three-wheeled vehicle run by battery power of not more than 4000 watts, and then they given the specification for 4 passengers also. Okay. Next one is in design thinking, prototype. So we need to validate our concepts, whether it will meet our desired specification or not. So once if it is reached, we can able to sell into the market, or else we need to refine our prototype. So then only it will be a successful one. So that is a part of prototype. Recent days also, most of the motor companies are developing e-vehicles, which is also suitable for running the on road. But the cost of the e-vehicle is much higher when compared to IC engines. But further development, the cost of the e-vehicle will be reduced within 5 to 10 years. I hope so. So these are the points which need to be noted while using e-vehicles. So that is adequate capacity addition primary through renewal and distribution of grid power, because if we are using the electric power, it will consume a lot amount of energy. So which means we need to improve our power production. that is 20% rise in peak demands. So we can suggest the e-vehicle consumers off peak hours. So that time the price of the electric bill will be less. So we can suggest some kind of suggestion like that. And second one is EV charging stations to be preferably on the rooftop. So whenever a customer having the e-vehicles, they have to install the solar PV panel on their rooftop. That is the power source of their e-vehicles, because for producing power we are consuming fossil fuels. So our objective is to eliminate the fossil fuel. So that is the most dominant point. And third one is electric vehicle manufacturer to design vehicles with chargeable batteries. So EV owners can just move in the charging stations. I already told you. So replacing the battery with a fully charged battery and move on. So for our specification, every station there should be a charged batteries. If we go to the station, we can replace our dried battery and we can get back the charge battery. We need to pay for the energy only, so not for the battery. And the fourth one is battery disposal and recycling norms as per Battery Management and Handling Rules 2001 published by the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change need to strictly enforce so as to prevent adverse environmental impact of batteries. Because battery is comprises of full of chemicals. It will regulate emissions. So we need to avoid. We need to follow the battery disposal and recycling norms. So that is the most essential one. And the last one is investment in R&D for future battery technology, resulting in battery with much higher specific energy, environment friendly and low cost. Because in our EV vehicles, almost 50% of cost is to the EV battery. So which means we need to minimize the cost of the batteries. So these are the points should be noted while we are having the e-vehicles. So I hope you all enjoyed this video. These are the reference I have made. So because this PPT is prepared by these websites. So thank you for your listening. Thank you.